All right, thanks to those of you who are just jumping on. We'll give it one more minute. Hopefully get a few more people on here. All right, well, it is exactly 12 o'clock noon Central Time, so we will go ahead and get started. I'd just like to welcome everybody to this session called the Coaching's Conversations Microlearning webinar. It's part of our greater Transforming Workplace Culture series. It's a microlearn today. It's only going to be between 20 and 30 minutes, but it's short, but it is powerful. So we hope you stick around for the whole thing. And today's session is specifically designed for business owners and their managers and leaders to help transform their leadership practice. And this micro learning session today is brought to you by Business Clarity by Design in Spencer, Wisconsin. And for those of you who don't know, Business Clarity by Design specializes in organization development, including succession planning for business owners and leaders. Our mission is to help owners and leaders maximize the value of their business through strategic, results driven interventions. As certified financial and exit planning professionals, we elevate business development by aligning it to financial growth, employee engagement, education, HR interventions, and a clear path towards that next chapter after business transition. And just a little bit about me. My name is Daisy Linville. I am the Director of Learning and Development here at Business Clarity by Design. I hold a master's degree in educational administration. I worked in public education, healthcare administration, and organization development for over 14 years. I'm personally passionate about lifelong learning and how a person's soft skills are really their power skills, which can give you a cutting edge in the workplace. I live in Marshfield, Wisconsin with my two teenage sons. And just a fun fact about us, we've actually lived in a trailer in the woods on an island in Lake Superior called Madeline Island for the last 10 summers. And that was a fun time for us. So that's just a fun fact about me. So, as I had stated earlier, this is part of our larger group of classes called our Transforming Workplace Culture series. Today, we are already in month number 3. Today's topic is coaching conversations. We do these about once a month. Well, we actually do them once a month on the third Wednesday of the month at noon Central Time. Next month, we'll be wrapping up our series in November with a class called Policies That Protect All. So, we hope that you all can join us for next month's class. But for today, for the topic of coaching conversations, we have a few of learning objectives, and they say that as leaders today, we will identify the purpose and the benefits of something called executive level coaching. That's the focus of the class today. We will identify the two types of coaching that exist. We will discover a proven model for reactive coaching conversations. And then we will discover a proven model for proactive coaching conversations. But first, I'd like to kick it off with a quote for some level setting, really helps us to shed some light on the importance of this topic. And the quote says, coaching is unlocking a person's potential to maximize their own performance. It's helping them to learn rather than always teaching them. And that comes from Sir John Whitmore, who is a founder of an amazing global organization called the International Coaching Federation. And I love this quote because it really encapsulates the miracle of coaching programs. Now, as leaders, we have no problem giving advice to people, right? We're in leadership. We love giving advice. We're very good at it. But the hard part for us is not giving advice and letting people figure out their own problems, right? So it's that process of training us as leaders as to how we should be doing more intentional questioning of our employees rather than advice giving. And again, that's the hard part for us, right? When we can ask the right series of questions to our staff members, it actually helps them to discover the answers that probably already lie inside of them. And then when they can discover their own answers, that serves as like their own intrinsic motivation to do the right thing. So there's a difference between telling an employee to do something and this is the way you have to do it, and this is why. But if you can help them to discover that solution on their own in their own mind, it helps for more productivity, more intrinsic motivation, and that they're going to do the right thing to begin with. So we're all training each other here, right, on how to be better coaches of our employees, letting them think for themselves. So, just quickly to define coaching, what is coaching? Well, basically, it is facilitating growth. Coaching is facilitating growth by delivering ongoing, timely, and appropriate feedback or questioning or guidance to enhance an individual's skills and capabilities. It's a proven way to develop individual, team, and even organizational performance. A recent study by a company called the Metrics, it was a global study. They found that executive level coaching has a 788% return on investment based on factors including increases in productivity and employee retention. And just a quick note about that word executive coaching. It's simply when you train your managers and your mid-level leaders as skilled executive coaches to help them facilitate the growth and other coaching programs amongst your staff. So the two terms are slightly different. One is coaching your staff, and executive coaching is training your leaders to become executive coaches. All right. So what does this process look like in your company? Well, basically, it's when you train your managers and your mid-level leaders as executive level coaches, remembering that they are the ones to build the program, design it, or even just adopt a robust coaching program for all employees. It looks like setting one-on-one regular meetings with employees and their direct supervisors and their managers, discussing goals for growth and tracking progress in multiple areas. It involves ongoing training and leadership development for your managers and your mid-level leaders. It involves adherence to specific models of coaching and rules for communication for leaders, whether in proactive conversations or reactive conversations. It's most effective when it is scaled across your entire company, and you should always stick to several well-researched models for employee coaching, and I'm going to teach you two of them today. And then you're always going to want to observe changes in employee engagement, their well-being, even your retention metrics. It actually serves for more flawless succession planning, company productivity, and even your bottom line. And just some amazing statistics here about the benefits of executive coaching. There is reported a 70% increase in employee performance. 61% of organizations report that coaching even positively impacts organizational performance. 68% of employees report increased job satisfaction after participating in regular coaching. 72% of organizations say they feel that coaching programs do improve employee retention. 53% of executives say coaching programs for their employees have helped them better handle their own stress and their own workload. 85% of coached employees say that they experience increase in their self-awareness. And that's a really crucial skill to something called emotional intelligence. When a person can work on their emotional intelligence level, it helps in all areas of their life, especially well-being. 45% of coached employees report an improved work-life balance, and 65% of companies with coaching programs see improved employee engagement. And those stats there come from that International Coaching Federation that I had mentioned earlier. And just a few reasons here behind the stats. Well, why are those statistics what they are? What's driving that, right? Well, Gallup found that a huge reason why coaching programs make employees happy and more engaged is because it has an effect on their resilience and their well-being. And it's because they feel cared about and they see a future with their company. Their managers are meeting with them regularly. They're investing time into their lives. They're helping them discover what's important to them. So that's creating that sense of care and they see that future with that company. A deeper insight is just to remember managers are the drivers of your staff's upskilling strategy. So when you train your managers and leaders to coach their direct reports, you're not going to just see employees learning, but you're also going to see them transforming. Now, we need to remember to be more intentional as to how we speak as leaders, from coaching to preventing misunderstandings and working on our communication skills. And we're going to learn about some of that today. And just a really important question to ask yourself as a leader. Is my leadership multiplying growth, or am I just managing tasks all the time? And a hint for you, one of those actually fuels your burnout. So it's up to you to decide, am I going to be a growth multiplier in my company, or am I just going to end up managing tasks all day? Important to think about there. So here we talked about our learning objective for today, those two types of coaching, and we have a triangle here representing that. So the first type of coaching is that proactive coaching, and that's in the green area. And then you have in the yellow something called reactive coaching. Now, not that reactive coaching is bad. It's not, because obviously there's many times where as a leader you have to help employees solve a problem or put out a fire, right? But reactive coaching, when done correctly, can actually serve as a really powerful tool for growth in your employees' lives. And then this third area here in red, reserved for serious performance issues, that actually is not a form of coaching at all. It's reserved more for like reprimanding types of conversations or performance improvement conversations. So, really, two types of coaching: proactive and reactive. All right. Now, real quick here, preparing to coach. Whether you are going into a coaching conversation for the purposes of an informal check-in or maybe like a more serious corrective discussion, it's always wise to check the following things inside of yourself as a leader before embarking into a conversation with a direct report. And preparing for a coaching conversation increases the likelihood that you'll be able to share your message more clearly. Your direct reports are going to hear what you are saying, and they're not going to hear what you're not saying. So the first thing here is you're going to want to check your emotions. Never go into a conversation where you're upset or frustrated or angry, maybe even some anger at that employee. Wait until you've calmed down. Don't go in with heightened emotions. Number two, check your ego. Do you have the tendency to fall into pointing the finger or possibly blame shifting to them, or maybe trying to make your own self feel better for some reason? So check your ego before going into these conversations. It's easy to slip into some of that behavior. Number three, check your motives. Is it to problem solve and like authentically, let's figure something out in a positive way? Or is your motives to sort of do something different? Something to really reflect on there. Number four, check your information. Make sure you have the facts before going into the conversation and that you're not stating incorrect information. I love this one. Number five, check your curiosity. Make sure you're going into it with the intent to understand the full scope of the situation as opposed to going in with assumptions or maybe accusing of something. You really want to stay curious and not accusatory. Number six, check your timing. Obviously, don't do it right before the employee is supposed to, go out to lunch or leave for the day, or just make sure it's a good time for both people involved. And then check your location. Make sure you carve that time on the calendar, reserve a room or an office to go have your conversation. All right, so jumping into our first model for reactive coaching, and this comes right out of the book called The Coaching Habit. Say less, ask more, and change the way you lead forever. It's really just a useful series of questions that you can use anytime, but it's especially for when an employee comes to you with an immediate issue. Hence, you are reacting to their immediate need. And again, it's not a bad thing to be reactive, it's not negative, it's necessary. So instead of reacting to their problem and then solving their problem for them, here are some questions you're going to learn how to ask. Instead of advice giving, you're going to be asking questions to help the employee get to their own conclusions. So, number one, they come into you frustrated and you say, okay, what's on your mind? Tell me what's going on. All right. And you let them talk, you let them vent. Now, number two, I want you to pause and give them a little bit of an awkward silence and just sit there and think and maybe say, okay, and what else? And then you just be quiet and let it be awkward and silent and let them struggle and with the awkward silence. And it kind of helps to unearth or uncover some deeper issues that might be going on that they didn't reveal in their first rant to you. Very important step right there. Number three, well, what's the real challenge here for you? Let's get to the bottom of this. What's challenging in your thinking or in the situation? And again, you haven't given any advice yet, have you? You've just simply asked questions and let them get it all out. Number four, what would you like to see come out of the situation? What's your solution for this? Let hear it from them first. Now, number five is maybe where you could drift into the area of giving advice, but more from the frame of how can you help support them? So I want you to ask them, how can I help? How can I help with this? What do you need from me to help you solve this problem? Again, you haven't given any advice yet. You're just offering your help as a leader. Number six, you could say this, okay, if you're saying yes to this solution, what are you saying no to? And are you okay with that? And number seven, you could ask what is going to be the most useful to you or the most useful outcome. And you could ask, is your solution value added to your life? Is this value added to your role in this company? Is it value added to the others around you? Can we come up with a win-win solution for all? What is that win-win solution for all? Are there any negative implications that we need to discuss? So I just love this coaching habit, conversation probes, I like to call them. And I'm actually going to give this to you in a handout at the end of today's session. So be watching the chat for that. Okay, so we're going to move on from reactive coaching to proactive. And here is a great model for proactive coaching. There's many models out there, but this one is called the coach model, COACH. It comes from the Association for Talent Development. Now, the coach model is used for longer conversations that are maybe more strategic in nature, and you'll actually want to have these planned out as part of your intentional coaching strategy. Maybe it looks like a one-on-one meeting with your direct report monthly or maybe quarterly. They can be conversations targeted around the staff member's personal and professional development goals. And it stands for C for current situation, O for objectives, A for approaches or like alternative action steps, and then C for choices. So we'll just go through these real quick. When you are in the current situation phase of the coaching model, you're going to use this meeting to gain clarity on the current status of a staff member's life, maybe their personal life, their role as a spouse, as a parent, as a worker in your company. What's the status of their life in each one of those roles? You can explore their current challenges within each role. What challenges are you having in this job? What challenges are you having as a spouse or as a parent? Kind of help uncover some of the deeper things that are going on that might be contributing to issues. And a question you could ask is, what is currently happening in each role that you hold in your life? All right, moving on to the O phase, the objectives phase. This could be an entirely different meeting in the following month or the following quarter. Determine the coaching goals, determine the desired results and the objectives for these meetings. And you can take into account the goals for the employee, the goals for their team that they work on, and even their their roles that span in the organization. What are the objectives or the goals that they have for the roles in in the organization that they work in? Questions could be, what would success look like to you, and how realistic is your goal? Now, for approaches or action items, you can explore all of the various approaches that one could take to achieving their objectives, brainstorming and exploring feelings around each approach, and then use open-ended questions to help the employee pick the best fit approach before offering a solution. So always ask open-ended questions there. Remember, you're not giving advice. And then CH for choices, support the employee to go ahead and make those choices for action. And this one I love. This one is where you can give advice. Draft a timeline with milestones for them. Help them come up with that. What would be a most realistic timeline for you to achieve these objectives? Questions could be, what's the first step you're going to take? And then who will hold you accountable? Excuse me, who will hold you accountable as the worker to get those action steps done? All right. And now we just went over those two models of the coaching habit for reactive conversations and then the coach model for the proactive conversations. And I just wanted to fill you in on a few other coaching frameworks that do exist. You're going to obviously have to give feedback to your employees as a leader. There's various models out there. One is called SBI, which stands for situation, background, and impact. E before O is another model. And there are a plethora of other performance management discussion models out there. Now, this one is really cool if you are a leader that has conversations with employees and they try any number of deflection techniques. There are specific trainings out there that teach you what to do and what to say when employees are avoiding you or skirting the issue, right? So things like denial, emotionalism, blame shifting, avoidance, sulking, passive aggression, rationalizing, comparisons, or shutdowns. We offer here at Business Clarity training in this area. If you're struggling and you don't know what to say, we can teach you that. Number three, negotiation. You're obviously going to have negotiations as a leader in a business. There is a framework called Getting to Yes. There is another one that I love called Crucial Conversations. And as I just mentioned, Business Clarity by Design offers service packages in all of these coaching domains. So let us help you implement a robust coaching program in your organization. We promise that you will see really great results. Okay, now I want to give everyone a 7-day leadership challenge. And this is when you can go ahead and check the chat for a link to our useful resource. This is a list of those questions from the coaching habit for reactive conversations. So I want you to go ahead and review that list. And then for the next time you have to have a reactive conversation with someone, it's going to require that you maybe have those probes memorized. So I want you to write out note cards or memorize the questions for the next time that an employee comes to you with a problem that they want you to solve. And you could also set up a calendar of monthly one-on-one touch-base meetings with your direct reports to discuss your employees' plans for ongoing growth and development, or even an expansion of their responsibilities and how you can support them in their goals. You could have a discussion with a senior leader or a colleague about starting a formal coaching program at your company or your business. And then call us, call Business Clarity by Design to help you get started on getting that robust coaching program up and running in your organization. All right, so we are at the end. We're just going to quickly review our learning objectives here. Today, we identified the purposes of coaching. We identified the types of coaching, proactive and reactive. We discovered that proven model for proactive, and we discovered that proven model for reactive coaching conversations. And I'd like to just leave you with a final quote to inspire your leadership practice. This comes from Franklin Covey, and it says, "Your life is really a series of conversations. Treat each one with care." All right, so with that, I'd just like to thank everyone for joining us today. Just remember, we do offer a lot of leadership development programs here for your company and staff and education development, as well as performance management and the coaching programs we talked about today. So give us a call to book a free consultation. And remember that staff and leader development does equal business health and growth. So just thanks again, everyone, for joining. Check us out at businessclaritybydesign.com. You can check out our sister company, financialclaritybydesign.com. We have a staff of certified financial planners who can help you along every step of your financial journey, whether you're an individual or a business owner. So call us, and we'd love to hear from you soon. And thank you so much for joining today's session. And we hope that you take care and come back next time. See you next time, everybody.